So you want to be a dungeon master?
So, you want a dungeon master.
So you want to be a DM?
Name some feats, okay? Feats.
So you want to be a DM?
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're going to be covering one of the most talked about tropes in all of Dungeons and Dragons. Splitting the party. Some people love it. Most either hate it or have a fear of it. And in this case, everyone's kind of right. Splitting the party is the culprit of many a TPK, whether it's an in-game party wipe or out-of-game friction at the table. Today, Taylor and I are going to address all of the potential pitfalls of party splitting and put together some paths for players and DMs to follow so that party splits aren't the BBEG. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. But first, always got to be a but first. Taylor, what is your favorite piece of media that has a party split in it?
I just watched this last week, and I remembered how much I love this movie, Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, bro.
I love the
Yeah.
Muppets, so I'm
Yeah,
here for
bro. But yeah, so like they
love the
have the
Muppets.
whole thing with Jim. Jimmy Jim. He goes down the one way.
Mhm.
But then also there's the Kermit side quest of going back and retaking the ship from the pirates.
Right.
So that whole situation, and then it all culminates with the big climactic scenes and all that stuff at the very end. But yeah,
Okay, I love that. I mean, I love anything Muppets.
yeah.
All day, every day,
Muppet
like-
Treasure Island, I think, is one of my favorite movies. It's really good.
Yeah, that's why Muppets Christmas Carol is like
Mhm.
up there, and it not just as a Christmas movie, like as a movie. I
As a
love it.
movie, yeah.
So what I will say is, for me, my first thought was I couldn't not think of Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
just because even in the first movie they split up, and it's a party split that is perpetuated by Frodo initially, right?
Mhm.
Like Frodo decides I gotta leave.
Yeah.
Boromir, I saw him get tempted by the ring. Surely this will happen to the others. And so I'm doing this to protect them, but also to protect this mission.
Mhm.
And so he leaves. Samwise Gamgee, being the absolute sweetheart that he is, follows him.
Yep.
Mr. Frodo, you gotta know. And so I'm just a
I won't
guardian.
drop no eaves, sir.
I never drop in no eaves. I don't peep them. So, and so that was the first thing I could think of. Not to mention there's further party splits later on throughout the film. Merry and Pippin get separated and they eventually join Treebeard. The main three guys, they eventually split off to do some of their own things, including going to recruit that ghost army. Gandalf is splitting left and right. You know what I mean? Comes
Gandalf
back as
just-
a different guy. So, like, there's all kinds of party splits going on in Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I couldn't help but think of that. There's
Yeah.
also Looney Tunes Back in Action, another one of my favorite movies of all time. It's absolutely genius. Makes Space Jam look like shit. Sorry, Michael Jordan. It's so fucking good. Brendan Fraser.
Mhm.
What else? Steve Martin. Jenna Elfman, I think her name is. Yeah, Jenna Elfman. So good. Absolute killer cast. So funny. But they have plenty of party splits as well. There are
Yeah.
times when Bugs and Daffy split off to go distract Elmer Fudd or another one of the villains or something like that. There's a scene where Bugs and Daffy split off and get into a literal spaceship so that they can go to a satellite that Marvin the Martian is setting up to bring the blue diamond into effect, so that they're going to, because the bad guy's plan is to shoot a ray, spoilers, onto the entire planet, turning them into monkeys. So it's a whole thing.
So it's a whole thing.
But there are plenty of times like that where they
Mhm.
they have to split up and address different things that are happening simultaneously. So
Mhm.
in media, party splits sometimes are insanely necessary, and it's a time thing normally, right? It's like, hey, we have to do X, Y, and Z, but we only have this much time. So you go do X, I'll go do Y, this person will go do Z. And that's why it like makes so much sense to have party splits. And because D&D, even if it is a little bit of a war strategy thing, even if it is very much combat heavy, all of these things, there's lots of mechanics. It is still a storytelling thing.
Yeah.
At least the
It
way we
happens all
play
the
it.
time. Yeah.
At least the way we play it. I know that there are people who treat D&D like Warhammer kind of, where it truly is just like a combat simulator. And I respect that. And that's fine for certain people. The way you and I and most of our friends and community play, it's usually a storytelling medium that has this combat focus because it's D&D.
Right.
But party splitting is still something that is so common in stories, especially fantasy and heroic stories. Happens in the Avengers. They do it all the time, right? X-Men, they separate. So like it happens so often in hero fantasies that of course it's going to happen in D&D games.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of issues that come along with that. Now, before we get into the meat of the episode, I must hit us with a little amuse bouche, and that is the Patreon, folks. Gang, have you heard about the Patreon? Probably, because I talk about it all the time. You got to go check out the Patreon, gang. There's all kinds of cool stuff there. Amazing magic items that we're putting out once a week for free. You just got to follow us. And then only for $2 a month, you get access to all kinds of things like the bonus action episodes. We just recorded one all about Pokemon subclasses that we're coming out with. Exciting news about a potential Kickstarter we're doing next year, but you're only going to learn about that if you're a member of the Patreon. So check out the Patreon, link in the description. Thank you so much for all of our Patreon members and the Patreon gang. We love you, baby. And with that, I feel like we simply must get into the meat of the episode.
We have to. We got to do it.
We simply must. So, party splitting. Now, this all started because in a previous episode, you and I were talking and party splitting just came up as like a topic. And so we were like, oh, we actually could do an entire episode about that. Here we are doing an entire episode about it.
We're going to do a whole episode on it.
And I got to say, one of the easier outlines to write, and that is truly thanks to the community, because I posted a TikTok that also, made its way to like YouTube Shorts and Instagram and stuff like that as well. But everyone answered. There were lots of comments on this particular. Yes. Yes. I'm going to stand by that. Everybody answered. So in the video, now I got a little cheeky with it. I did a little SEO bullshit where like I did start the video with like, hey, why are people so afraid of party splits? And it kind of really made it seem like, oh, if you don't like party splits, it's just because you're afraid. Obviously, I did that for mainly the engagement portion of it. And just unfortunately, the stupid way that TikTok and all of these dumb social media platforms work is that rage always is going to just get more engagement than hope or love ever will. And it's such a shame. And I'm sad that I played into it. But with that came a lot of incredible responses from the community, from our friends, from our followers, from mutuals and stuff like that. And so first off, I just want to say thank you. The community that we've been building and friends and colleagues and acquaintances and everybody in the space have been so supportive and engaging. You're why we do this, and you guys make us better. And so first off, just thank you. You can tell we're both millennials because we do hearts like this. And we're not doing whatever the correct fuck Gen Z, whatever the fuck Gen Z's doing with this shit. Sorry, Gen Z. I love you guys. You guys are fun.
You guys are fun.
You guys are fun. I see you guys in the streets with your protests. I respect it, dude. But anyway,
hell yeah.
The second thing I will say, if you don't already, go to the link in the description, give us a follow. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. We have a Discord, all kinds of things, merch, Patreon. Now, we often on those different platforms, we'll ask questions like that one. We'll give ideas. We'll announce upcoming projects, such as this coming Thursday, December 11th. This is very timely. December 11th, 2025, live on Twitch.
Too.
I know, right? 2025, December 11th, very specifically Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here on the Purple app. I'm so used to calling it that because of fucking TikTok algorithm bullshit, but it's called Twitch.
You can say Twitch on Twitch.
I know, you know me. I'm so used to
Yeah.
saying the Purple app though, unfortunately. Just like unaliving and stuff. Like, God, it drives me nuts. I hate the censorship. Anyway, we are doing a table read for the 2003 movie Elf. We have an incredible cast coming together. People who have so many followers, more followers than us, were gracious enough to step in, help us out, even take on some of these teeny tiny roles, all because they believe in the cause that we're trying to support, which is Doctors Without Borders. So we're going to be raising money for an incredible charity, helping to kick off January 2026 TTRPG Talk charity drive, also for Doctors Without Borders, with kind of an emphasis on Gaza and stuff like that. So really, really exciting stuff. It's going to be so much fun, so silly, and I'm sure there won't be any issues whatsoever. Everything
Not
will
a
work
single one.
perfectly.
You got it.
I got so much to do this weekend, man. We have 2 rehearsals. I got to put together a playlist. I got to make a bunch of overlays. I just got the Tiltify link today. I got to put that into the Nightbot thing. I got to figure out all this other stuff, man. But woo, it's going to be
I gotta
exciting.
get that.
So
I gotta
be
get
there.
all this stream deck crap set up too.
We got some work to do,
We got
but
a lot of work.
it's going to be worth
A
it
lot
because
of
it's going to be awesome. And then it'll just help us for future events and cool
Mhm.
things. Because not only is it an amazing cause and like a fun event and everything like that, but like it also is a really cool way for us to collaborate with other creators. And so that's
Yeah.
really fun too. So check out those things. Now, let's get into back to party splits and stuff like that. There were so many different things that people were saying. Like I said, we got a bunch of comments. And so what I did is I kind of went through all the comments and I kind of gathered them together into the most common ones that I was seeing. We're going to handle 3 today, and they're, broadly speaking, like each one is pretty vague. But then underneath it, I list out a bunch of like kind of what they meant, maybe more specifically. The nuances of like these big overarching things. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit like an issue with party splitting, like something that a con, and then we're going to talk about like potential solutions.
Okay.
Right? Now, keep in mind, all of our advice here is based on our own personal experiences as dungeon masters and as players at other people's tables and stuff like that. We're not perfect. Not all of our advice is going to fit like a glove for every single table out there, right? There's a lot of nuance here. And as always, adult diapers. You know what I mean? It depends.
It depends.
So take that into account. Now, our first big issue, and these are in no particular order, is, and I lumped these together a little bit, but it's spotlight hogging and imbalanced attention.
I think that this is the most obviously it is the most common thing, but I think it's the easiest thing to accidentally do as a DM. I've done it.
Everyone's done it. It's so easy. And sometimes it's almost like, sometimes it's more intentional. Sometimes you do it accidentally. Sometimes yeah.
I think that this is really, at the end of the day, when you look at all of the stuff that people say about party splitting, it pretty much all comes down to this of how do you make sure that everybody make sure that everybody feels like the main character, not just one person.
Absolutely. So like some of the common things that I saw when this issue was raised several times is number one, especially true for newer DMs, that this could be an issue. But I'll go through 4 points that were kind of raised throughout all of these comments. One part of the party split gets a more interesting story while the others have a more boring story. So even if you split up the attention 50-50, one side is doing cool shit and the other side's not doing as cool of shit.
I just thought of a really ridiculous scenario, but it's fine. We'll move on.
Okay. B, some players will get distracted, lose focus, or completely tune out,
Mhm.
kind of leading to not having fun.
Yeah.
C, we end up spending the majority of the session spotlighting one or just a couple of the players, and the others don't get as much attention. So this is the time management of it all, where like,
Mhm.
you know, the party splits in two. Group A gets like an hour and a half, and Group B gets 30 minutes. And it's like,
Mhm.
ah, shit. So, like, that is a common thing, just the time management of making sure that everyone is getting like equal playing time, sort of thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then D, sometimes the party split is initiated by a player who wants to hog the spotlight or
That-
be the main character or
That's the red
something to
flag
that
one.
effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the red flag one. Everything else is we can manage. D is the trickiest out of all of these.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're all like everything that we're going to talk about today across the board is
Mhm.
just practice for the
Yeah.
most part. We're
Yeah.
just talking practice because everything gets easier with more experience and you start to encounter things as like patterns and then you can recognize them in advance. You already know the different ways of handling them and so
Mhm.
things will just get a little bit easier, especially as you like practice things like improv skills. You'll see that come up a lot in the solutions and stuff. So, before we go into solutions,
Mhm.
do you have any personal examples of this type of problem with party splitting happening either as a player or a
Um, I've been perfect as a DM
DM?
since I started playing the game, so
Yeah,
I don't
same.
have.
Same. And there's a record of me DMing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Never. I've
there's like 8
never made any
seasons of
mistakes.
actual plays you guys can watch. Um,
But no, I definitely have fallen into the accidentally making one character's more story more relevant to the plot. It was at the time I had envisioned doing this with all of the characters like we've done in our home game of like, you know, we have our main plot, but then like Sunny has had a side mission and I've had a
mhm,
side mission and Fellas has had a side mission. Like, um, I was gonna do that and then the game kind of got out of hand and I had to reel it back in. And
mm.
then that kind of made it really focused on one person and then the game kind of fizzled out and I never got a chance to get to everybody else. That was one of those ones where I was at a huge table, it's like 6 people and
Mhm.
it's a lot to manage.
It is challenging. Yeah, absolutely. And it always depends on like so much of this depends on the table,
Yeah.
the specific players that you're playing with, and, or the DM. Um, but for me, I've definitely done this before because of time management. Um, you start out a session where you're like, okay, it's session one. I'm going to start everybody off with these vignettes.
Hmm.
The first two people's vignettes are always a little bit longer than everyone else's because I
Yeah.
start them and then we get lost in role play. And then I
Mhm.
look at the clock and I go, ah, shit. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else is a little faster. And so that does happen sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, I think also I haven't necessarily run in too often with individual players wanting to split off
Yeah.
and like party split. I did have with like our home game with the he who shall not be named. Um, uh, he was like at there were times where it wasn't like a party split. It was almost more like just hey, I think once we're done with this side quest, my character has no reason to be in this group anymore. And it was like,
Right.
cool. So your character's selfish as you are as a player. Great, fantastic. Yeah.
Go, 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 go,
I
go.
foresee you leaving this group in shame in a couple months. Um, so like yeah, I've definitely encountered some of these things, but getting into solutions for this type of
Mhm.
thing. So, with this particular one, I was able to come up with some solutions specifically for A, B, C, and D and stuff like that. So, for A, which again is one part of the party split, is getting a more interesting story than the other.
Mhm.
So, sometimes it's like, hey, one half is going to fight the dragon and the other one is going to fight the baker or go to buy bread from the baker. And
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
I just thought
okay.
of the ridiculous scenario that I had in my mind was like half of the group is doing a full-on Ocean's 11 style bank heist, and then
Mhm.
just two people in the party are just waiting in line at the DMV. And it's the
To renew
slowest
their
line.
license. They're the
Yeah,
getaway car.
you're
To renew
right.
their license
Right.
by
And
the
they're
time
just
the bank robbery's done.
right. They're just standing there. All right. Cut away. All right. We've got the jewels. Get out of here. Go, go, go. Cut back.
35. Damn it. I'm number 105.
Now serving
This is gonna take forever.
47.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah, no, 100%. I like that absolutely can happen. What I wrote down is that I think this is really like improv skills.
Yeah.
Can allow you to amp up the fun or the chaos or the interest level or whatever so that
Mhm.
each group is doing cool things. In that example that you gave, have their shit goes down at the fucking DMV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows what it is, but something goes down. What if police officers come in? Police officers come in on the walkie. They're like, we have a bank robbery in progress. Da, 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 da. And they're like, all right, cool. Send me over a list of all their known associates or something like that. Like the same thing that happens in one of the Ocean's movies. And like the two people in line for the DMV are like, oh, fuck, dude. Oh, I've been arrested before. Like they have my mugshot. Oh, no. You know what I mean? Like now things are a little more exciting. So I think when you practice and get better at improv over time, because it truly is, I think, a skill that you can practice and hone and become more comfortable with going off script. I think then is when you can start to add things in, spice things up a little bit without having that necessarily be a planned thing. Because I think most of the time that people have issues with party splits, they're impromptu party splits.
Yeah.
The DM isn't planning a party split, and that's where the disconnect comes.
Right.
Because if you're planning the party split, then you should be able to make sure that both sides are doing cool things. You know? But I genuinely do believe that like this is one of those skills where there's not an easy answer to it other than practice.
Yeah.
And you'll get better at doing this.
Yeah.
Is how I think. You
know?
know?
And I think kind of on the outline, it kind of bleeds into the next point of, because these are all kind of all the same thing. Another way to keep everybody engaged is not necessarily just to keep them engaged, but to like do cool shit is to switch back and forth so that I do it more frequently than you think you maybe should or whatever. Like, you know, you don't want to finish a whole scene and then cut back to the other people and then have them have to do their whole scene, rather than it's more fun and interesting to interlayer the scenes on top of each other.
Absolutely. There's nothing more fun than the look on your player's face when they're about to hit the climax and you go, and we'll come back to you.
I love
and
that.
We'll come back to that.
Such a
and
power
we
move.
pop over here.
It's so good.
Yeah. And before you do that, let's bounce over here and we're gonna go back to the DMV. Fellas, make a fucking luck check or something. You guys are in line. So funny. I absolutely agree.
When
it comes to
at window number 4.
When it comes to players getting distracted, losing focus, or tuning out, not having fun because their characters aren't getting the attention that they want, there's a couple of things. Switching between the groups more often is a huge one. It takes a little bit of practice, but eventually you'll learn. You'll feel those right. At least for me, like I wasn't always good at that, but now I feel so confident. I do it all the time. And we cut that scene and we go here, and that scene is over and we go here, and I feel super confident just butting in. Now, obviously, if there is open communication and trust at the table, then what happens is there's approachability, there's comfort, there's safety, so that if I say, and we're going to cut from that scene. I want a player, if for some reason the player's like, oh, I actually genuinely really just want to say this one thing or do this one thing before I cut the scene, then hopefully there's enough trust and comfort and all those things so that the player can go, actually, can I just say one more thing? And then you can cut. And then it's like, yeah, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like I want the player to feel comfortable to address it in the moment
Right.
if it is something that is causing any friction or anything like that. And similarly, I want the DM to feel comfortable to be able to say, hey, gang, we're going to cut this scene now so that I can get to the DMV, so that I can get to the other group. And hopefully you have players who are cool and they get it. Because that's like kind of the next point. Some of this just comes down to the table itself, the group you're playing with. Like I was listening to some of these comments, and I'm not necessarily faulting anybody because everybody has different play styles. And like obviously I don't know every single person who's commenting on like a personal level, but like I don't know. It obviously depends on the DM. It depends on the style of the story and all those kinds of things. But there are plenty of times where my character is not involved in a scene when I'm a player, when I'm not involved in a scene for a long time.
Oh,
maybe even an hour. I've gone an entire hour with not my character doesn't do shit. It's not even on my character at all. But I'm still paying attention.
Yeah.
Now, that's for a number of reasons. Number one, the DM's doing a good job. The story's interesting. I actually want to pay attention because the story is good. The second thing is, these are my party members. So even though my character doesn't know these things, me as Justin, I want to know those things.
Right.
And I'm fine with the like not metagaming and stuff like that, but still, I want to know those things. Because I'm also the type of player to like dance the line of metagaming. For example, I find out that your character is secretly an assassin. Let's just say, right, for the sake of this scenario.
Sure.
Justin, find out your character is secretly an assassin. Obviously, my character doesn't know that, but I, Justin, know that. I might do something based on that knowledge that isn't straight up metagaming. I'm not going to like just my character walks in and goes, I bet you're an assassin. That's crazy. I'm not going to do that. But maybe I'll do something like have my character be near your character and be like, dude, I wish we could hire a fucking assassin because I just want this guy to die. And I'm purposely saying that because I know your character's an assassin and I want to see if you take the hook kind of thing. But genuinely, my character doesn't know you're an assassin. It's just a coincidence.
Right.
And so sometimes I like doing things like that. Also, to me, it's a little bit of a respect thing. And obviously, most of the times I'm playing on camera these days. So like, I can't imagine the disrespect of what it would feel like for the DM and the other players if they're doing these scenes and I'm sitting here like this. I like obviously sometimes you're playing on audio only and like everything is a little bit different because we can't see each other. So if you're scrolling on your phone or playing a fucking emulator kind of thing, by all means. But like then when I call on you and you're like, oh, what's been going on?
Yeah.
Then okay, now you're not listening and this is a thing. So sometimes it's like the players, it's the culture of your table. You know what I mean? When it comes to like if they're paying attention to scenes they're not in. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we have a great table. Everyone's down for even if we do party splits and I don't mention their character for 30 minutes, they're fine with it. Don't abuse that. That's not a green light to cheese it.
Yeah.
You know, but I do think that who you have at the table can change that one thing a lot.
I agree. I agree because there are sometimes people who feel the need to interject themselves into every single scene, and sometimes you have to split them out for a minute. I think that kind of gets more into the maybe the red flag side of
the spotlight hog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah. I do think I don't know.
It's an interesting thing. It really comes down to people play this game differently. And so even if person A and person B, they're both great people, like values wise, like they're both awesome people, They might just
Right.
play the game differently, and therefore they shouldn't play the game together because those two styles, I'm making things up, obviously, but like
Right.
it's possible for their two styles of play to be so different that it's just like, well, they're just not going to meld as well.
Hmm. One
Some
person
people are
wants to do
so story,
goofs.
some people are
Yeah.
so goofs. Yeah, some it's like, no, we want drama at the table. Don't interrupt with a silly dad joke. Like, and that's fine. And those things
Right.
should be established and respected, and it is what it is.
Mm.
Um, Going on though, I will say another possible solution for this kind of thing. It's kind of handling, like you had mentioned, like B and C. So players getting distracted, but also the mismanaging of time so that you're not focusing all on one party
Hmm.
or part of the party
Right.
versus the other. I will say make sure that each side is doing things that are relevant and
Hmm.
meaningful. So back to the example about if one side is tracking the dragon and the other side is just grabbing bread from the baker, yeah, that's going to feel a little imbalanced. You're probably going to spend way more time on the side that's tracking the dragon than you are on the side that's just buying bread.
Yeah.
But you could also, maybe the baker is actually part of the dragon's cult.
Bang.
And now things are interesting.
Hmm.
Maybe the baker is somebody who was a victim of the dragon and therefore has a bunch of information. And so then you can delve into
Hmm.
those kind of scenes. Imagine
Hmm.
how interesting actually a side by side would be. The party is fighting the dragon and they're going ice spell. Oh, the ice spell's not doing anything. Quick cut back to the baker. The baker's going, so don't use ice magic because it won't fucking work. That's hilarious and I
Yeah.
love it. So
Yeah.
like there's ways to do it, you know, you can
Hmm.
spice up the boring side of the adventure can be spiced up. Of course that
Hmm.
takes a lot of practice. It's a lot of improv which not everybody is super comfortable with, especially when you're improving important plot things. Like it's one thing
Yeah.
to improv a bullshit scene. Like, oh, dumb
Hmm.
NPC you meet on the street, his name is Razzle. Like no problem. But when you're improving important details about
Hmm.
lore or world building or the plot, I can understand feeling a lot of anxiety about that because I do too. Even at my home game that low key doesn't matter.
Hmm.
I still feel like, oh, give me a couple minutes to think on this actually, because I don't just want to say the first thing in my head and have that just be canon now.
Right. Right.
So like I get it, but that's one thing I would say. I also think, and this is going to come up a couple times, communication, open
Yeah.
dialogue. If your players are actually getting that bored that they're looking on their phones, or as one commenter put it, reorganizing their Magic the Gathering cards, then ideally they let you know. If you're not seeing them bored as fuck,
Right.
hopefully they tell you as such.
Right.
When DMs end a game with questions, comments, concerns, or how was the game, or everything like that, please do not default to it was fine, it was good, you're great, unless genuinely you mean that. And I say
Hmm.
that as a DM who I don't love constructive feedback. I like every time I receive criticism, I take it a little personally. I can't help it. I'm
Yeah.
sensitive. But I need to know those things because you know what will make me more hurt is if 3 months go by of you telling me the game's great and then you drop the game or you
Hmm.
blow up because you've been building resentment this whole time
Right.
and now the table falls apart. You know what I mean? I would have rather you
Mm.
just tell me when it first started to bother you so that we could address it earlier on.
Yeah.
And the same is true for like in the reverse of things, right? Like I also want uh, the DM to talk to the players and be like, hey, I'm noticing that you're really getting bored at this, but like you guys keep splitting the party.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
pick a fucking lane at a
Hmm.
certain point, you know? So all these things are they're challenging. I also do
Yeah.
think that like I never want to put like more Otis on the DM or anything like that. But I do think that it's on the DM a little bit to sense those things.
Hmm.
Like I said, I think at the end of the day, open dialogue is most important. But as a DM,
Yeah.
you should kind of know if your players are having the best of times or if they're bored as hell,
Hmm.
presumably, right? Obviously, it's much easier with cameras and stuff like that. But if you're not using cameras, then I understand. If you're not playing in person, I get it. But look for the signs. Look
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
signs.
The one word responses and all of that. Those are
Mm,
the signs. Those are
yeah.
the signs.
If
The
you hear
hunts.
a video game in the background,
Mhm.
doop, doop. Oh, you're playing Super Smash. You're playing Super Mario's. Um, the other thing I will say as a piece of advice, don't
Mhm.
split it into too many groups.
Yeah.
Like if you're having trouble with party splits where the party just splits into 2 groups, don't split it into 4 groups. Don't have everyone go off solo because that makes it even harder,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Unless they're quick things. Like I've done that before too, where people are going on quick shopping trips.
Mhm.
No problem. We're splitting up so that we can handle X, Y, and Z. We're just talking to NPCs. It's possible. I've done it before. But the more groups that you're splitting into, the harder it is going to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So, and then the last one, I mean, the red flag player.
Yeah. Just this is again the communication thing. To talk to your players. You know, do talk about it in your session 0 about kind of what the expectations are as far as when it comes to, you know, party splits and or make it clear that it's not one person's game. This is everybody's table, I think is the way that I would bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I'm going to try to get everybody in the spotlight. So if it seems like I'm not paying specific attention to you right now, don't worry, I'll get there. Type of
Yeah,
deal, you know? Like,
absolutely.
because I think part of it just it comes from boredom of players for one thing, and for the other thing it does just kind of boil down to they want to be the spotlight primary character, and
Mm-hmm.
just because you know you're the face and you do a bit of talking, you know, doesn't mean that you are the only character in the party that matters.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Um,
Not calling out you charisma based class people, but I will say I will
no,
say it
it's so
happens.
accurate though.
Yeah.
You're hitting the nail on the head because as somebody who primarily chooses charisma classes, like they're my
Mhm,
favorite. I love playing bards are my favorite. I like
mhm.
being high charisma, even when I'm not a charisma class. I like my charisma being decent.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a dungeon master. I'm used to talking a lot.
Mhm.
So I am the player who, like, if there's, and this is hard when we're not using cameras, if there's too long of a silence, I'll butt in.
Yeah.
And I recognize that sometimes that can be stepping on people's toes or cutting them off or spotlight hogging. And it's obviously it's not intentional. It's I don't want to sit in the awkward silence, but I can't tell that people are taking notes unless they out loud say, "Hold on, I'm taking notes." Right? Like so now there's
Right.
just a silence. The DM asked us a question, so I'm sitting here going, "Is no one going to answer?" I guess I'll
Yeah.
answer again. I feel crazy for doing it, you know? And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
one's fault. It's just sometimes without cameras, it can be challenging.
Mhm.
It's much easier not to do that when there are cameras because I can see things. I can see if people are
Right.
thinking
Right.
about things or if they're just like sitting on it. Um, and I will say really quickly, Dale in the chat said the only time I've split the party was when there was a fork in a cave and I wanted to go down the dangerous route with the Dragonborn. Dale, I'm glad you brought that up because our next issue is that it is potentially deadly, the party splits.
Yes.
This is a common one that I also saw a ton of. Um, it is one that a lot of people brought up, and I will give credit. There were a couple people who brought it up as something that is common, like it is a common fear,
Mhm.
but they were like, but this one is one of the easier ones to handle.
Bingo. Yeah.
So, as common as it is also not that hard to handle. And even
Yeah.
one person went so far as to say, and I think I have it on here as C, that they believed, and they were like, it's not like I did, the person in the comment was like, it's not
Mhm.
like I did research on this, but they felt like it was a holdover from modules.
Right.
Because when you're running Curse of Strahd, and all of the different encounters and different modules, the modules aren't planning for you to split the party and handle
Right.
these encounters in groups of two.
Mhm.
They're assuming balance wise, numbers wise, CR wise, that you're handling it as a party.
Right.
So then when you split and you and the Dragonborn, Dale, go down the dangerous route, you're still fighting the Aboleth
Mhm.
with legendary actions and lair actions and all these different things. Now, as seasoned DMs, and Taylor and I are both perfect, we've already said this. What I would do is there's a number of ways I would potentially handle that. Now, in a cave, it's very specific because I imagine sound would bounce off the cave. So when you scream as the aboleth stabs into your rib cage, your
Mhm.
friends are going to hear it.
Mhm.
But the reason that this came up so much, here are some of the sub reasons.
Right.
Number, I almost said number.
Number A.
Number A, split party equals split resources.
Mhm.
B, a planned minor encounter could turn deadly because the DM hadn't planned for only a quarter of the party to fight that encounter.
Mhm.
C, kind of in the same vein, holdover from modules. The modules don't account for split parties to be taking on encounters. So
Mhm.
kind of the same as B. And then D, if one side gets in trouble, the other side potentially doesn't even know.
Right.
So in terms of solutions, um, all of these solutions kind of help all of them in different ways, you know.
Mhm.
Obviously we can get more specific, but the first one that I wanted to straight up say, and I feel like I'm curious, I don't think you'll take it as a hot take, Taylor, but I'm curious if other people in the community would take it as a hot take. And that
Mhm.
is, I don't think it's the DM's job to make sure everything is perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
Sometimes your actions have consequences. Like, I love Dale, and like, I'm assuming I would love Dale's character. And so, if Dale and the
Mhm.
Dragonborn go down and I know that they're going to die, maybe I would fudge some things. Maybe I would change the statistics a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe the
Mhm.
aboleth, maybe there's a way for them to talk to the party members or something.
Right.
But there's also a world where it's like, because I'm also the type of DM to be like, are you sure you want to split the party?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then if they say, yes, I'm sure, then it's like, okay, you made your bed, now lie in it. There's like a
Mhm.
certain level of that. Like, I'm genuinely not
Right.
trying to come across as like a dick. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
to be like the brutal
Yeah. No.
DM
No.
kind
No.
of
But
stuff, but like,
so,
there is a part of
um,
like, you don't have to hold your players' hands for every single thing.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
grown adults, they're making their own decisions. They
And
have to
I
live by the
think,
consequences.
yeah, and I think that that kind of comes down to also just actions in general having consequences is a good
Mm,
kind of reinforcement to have in your games to kind of keep things from going off the rails. But like something along the lines of like a party split of, hey, one part of the party wants to go and steal something. Well,
mhm,
now they've left forensic evidence or something like that. Now they're wanted.
mhm.
Like now the cops are going to be coming after you guys because they decided that they wanted to sneak into the potion shop at night and steal the potions rather than pay for them.
Yep. Yep. So I do think that there's a certain level of that where I was like
Mm.
reading some of the comments and like most of them were fine. Every once in a while, it was like, okay, but the party decided to do that.
You're right.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not your
yeah.
job to clean up their messes.
Yeah, I think
Sometimes you can. I think that's fine. My point is truly just like, you don't always have to fix
no.
their
No,
decisions or something.
I agree. I agree. I do think if they do something and you don't ask for that, are you sure this could like I like put
Hmm.
the gravity behind
Yeah.
that question of are you sure you want to do that? And if they say yes, that's it.
A
Like,
million percent. Yeah,
but
because
I
you don't want to
do think
surprise them with like
exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
TPK.
You don't want to be like, okay, cool, you guys are at a fork. Oh, well, these two are going to go right. These two are going to go left. Okay. Well, the left path leads to the crazy aboleth. The right path leads to some cots and a
Treasure.
bed or something,
Yeah.
right? The gold and stuff. And it's like, okay, so I had a 50-50 shot of picking, the party had a 50-50 shot of picking right. So
I
since they
know.
split now, and it's like, okay, you got to give them at least a little bit of warning. You don't have to tell them exactly what's up, but if they're coming up on a point where party split is going to be bad, especially if you're running a module or something like along those lines,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you got to be like, okay, cool. Just so you know, there will be dire consequences possibly if we split here. I'll
Yep,
let you
yep, yep.
do it, but let it just saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to do it. You can give them those warnings. Are you sure you want to do that? I've done that before, especially with newer players.
Mhm.
They're in the middle of a busy shop and they want to cast suggestion on the shopkeeper. And I go, there are components to that. People are going to see you cast that spell. Are you?
Right.
And so it's just like sometimes, and this is very true for newer players, not always true for veteran players, but like sometimes I'm like, okay, before you do that, here are what the consequences are going to be straight up.
Right.
If somebody catches you, they're going to call the guards. 30 guards are going to be here within the minute. Do you still want to do it? Because if you do, I'm down. But just heads
Right.
up.
Right.
Because the last thing I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
you to
yeah.
do is I don't want that, especially for new players. Again, I don't want them to be like, cool, I'm doing this thing. I cast suggestion, da da da. And I go, all right, awesome. First of all, the shopkeeper makes the saving throw, so it doesn't work. And
Mhm.
they saw you cast a spell, they're calling the guards are coming in, you guys get arrested. And then I don't want that new player to be like, oh, I didn't know that that was going to happen.
Right.
Like I didn't know that the spell was so visible
Yeah.
or blah blah blah. Like so, sometimes you genuinely do need to like be so explicit about what could happen. Now, obviously, you don't have to always do that, especially as players become more knowledgeable about how the game works. But that's something to consider. But sometimes actions just have consequences, and it kind of just is what it is.
Hmm.
Obviously, that's within reason and under the right circumstances, but sometimes that is the case, and I stand by that. Now,
Hmm.
back to the idea of improv practice. Sometimes over time, you get more comfortable adjusting the difficulty of a combat on the fly,
Yeah.
right? We've talked about that very many times across
Hmm.
multiple episodes
That
where
just comes with
sometimes,
practice.
yeah, sometimes it's something simple like reducing AC or HP or something like that. It could be reducing the damage or whatever. It could be removing enemies altogether. There
Yep.
was 4 werewolves, now there's 2.
Yep.
Or sometimes the monsters or villains are I use the word merciful, but it could also just be like they're gonna take you a prisoner. So it's
Yeah.
not a TPK. They're not gonna kill you outright,
Hmm.
but they're gonna loot the shit out of your body, bro. And then they're gonna leave you there. Your friends find you. You're not dead,
Right.
but your magic sword is gone. You know, like
Hmm.
could be something like that. So there's a number of different ways to handle those fights so that they're not deadly,
Right.
right? So
100%.
um, there's a hundred different ways to handle things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
Combat is probably the easiest thing like the difficulty of combat is probably the easiest thing to change when it comes to a party split. I mean, if that is your
for sure. I think
if,
some people get hung up because they're maybe, and I'm guesstimating. I personally have never run a module in my entire life. I think some people, because they only run modules,
Mhm.
they get so tied into like this is what the book says. So then
Yeah,
for
no, I
them
get that.
changing monsters is it doesn't come as naturally to them because they're
Mhm.
not doing it.
Yeah.
But
No,
because
I
you and I are like homebrewing monsters, we're coming up with our own things, we're making our own
mhm.
subclasses and magic
Mhm.
items and this
Yeah.
and that. We're
I've
more used to that
never
kind of stuff.
like
But
I use modules, but I've never used a module as written. Not one time. Not one single time.
yeah, that's how I would it like I want to play Tomb of Annihilation, but I'm gonna change the hell out
Yeah.
of it. But and then the other two like points on this. The first one
Mhm.
is I wrote not all metagaming is evil. For
Very true.
example, uh hey, Dale and the Dragonborn are dying. Other players, technically your characters can't hear this, but you guys know that Dale and the Dragonborn are dying. Feel free to be like, hey, I'm
Huh.
going to pull out my sending stone and see where Dale is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine, actually. Right?
Yeah.
Like we all at the end of the day say, hey, I only have 10 hit points. Can someone heal me? Okay.
Right.
oh, an AC of this and blah blah blah. Like
Mhm.
we all are metagaming anyway when we play D&D. Of
Yeah.
course, sometimes it can go too far, blah blah blah. More on that in another episode. But sometimes it's like, hey man, what would you guys rather do? Keep the perfect integrity of our non-metagaming or not
Or
TPK? Like,
right.
come on. You know?
Right.
So that I wanted that to be a point in there.
Mhm.
And then the next point is kind of like, how often are the parties splitting? Is this becoming a
Fair.
pattern?
Fair.
Are
It's
they
this
splitting a lot?
becoming a pattern.
If they're splitting a lot, you as
Mhm.
the DM, as the controller of the universe, can help that.
Mhm.
Give them message earrings, which is like they did it in campaign 1 of Critical Role, and I stole the
Yeah.
idea from there. And I've
Mhm.
done it in so many different games because it just makes party splitting so much simpler.
Mhm.
Where, hey, as long as you're within a certain distance, you can just be like, hey, Kaladin, what's going on over there? Everything good? You good?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
much easier. You can
Yeah.
also just do sending stones, making sure that they have things like the scroll of sending or teleport or I don't know,
Yeah.
Baldur's Speedy Courier or Skywrite, whatever the hell you want, some kind of communication tool or teleportation to get the fuck out of there, something. You
Yeah.
know, if they don't already have it from like their spell list, give them some items, help them out a little bit, you know? Give
Definitely
them some
items or some kind
companions.
of yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bird named Zappy Snappy, which is the name of a bird in one of my home game or one they my other
uh-huh.
Sword Coast Coup game.
Uh-huh.
Uh, one of the
Zappy
players
Snappy.
one of the players has a blood hawk named Zappy Snappy.
I love that so
It's
much.
so funny.
I
It's
love that
so
so
funny. And
much.
she's been training, she's been reading a book on um how to speak with birds. And she finally finished the book and now once per day she can cast speak with animals so that she can talk to Zappy Snappy. And
Mm.
Zappy Snappy, we've already established, is very like, oh, hello, hello. I was dropped as an egg. Hello, hello. It's very that. I'm having a lot
I
of
love
fun with
that.
him,
Yeah.
but also, in that game, that character got to meet Sunny at the library,
Mhm.
and Sunny got to teach this character how to train birds because Sunny has a seagull named Flappy. So I'm finding ways to put all of your characters as NPCs in this world.
That's awesome.
I'll eventually hit Kaladin. I'm waiting for a higher level so that it's like when he first shows up, it's like, holy shit. So Kaladin hasn't shown up yet, but
Yeah.
Fellis is actually a villain.
Really?
She's she's an archfey patron. She's the
Oh,
queen of hags. She's in
dang.
the Feywild.
She
She
embraced your
killed
villain
she
era.
killed the loved one of the PCs.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the that actually we're gonna get so off tangent if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
keep
yeah.
talking
Let's
about it
yeah,
because
yeah, no, we're
it's so
really
interesting and it's
yeah,
gonna throw me off. Yeah. So
we're almost done.
um so third, last but not least,
Mhm.
in terms of one of the reasons that people have issues with party splitting is
Mhm.
that it is harder on the DM. And that is unequivocally true for the most part. I
Yeah.
mean, of course it's more difficult work because you're already doing more work than presumably the rest of the table just by the very nature of
Yeah.
what a dungeon
Yeah, yeah,
master or
yeah.
game master has to do. So whether that's work beforehand like prep, encounter building, maps, tokens, other logistics, or during the game just running the damn game, not many want to add work to that already heavy load.
Mhm.
So the things that I was hearing was it's hard to keep track of, whether it's the information, what's happening, the mechanics of it all, the balancing, the time management of making sure that everybody's getting as close to equal playing time as possible, which
Valid.
depending on your table is very
Yeah.
important. The next one, B, improv can already be a challenge. Now double it and give it to the next guy. So that can be a thing.
Actually,
And
I'm gonna double the improv, and now you have to handle the party split. I'm out of
I
here.
know, right?
You double it, hand it to the next guy.
And C,
Mhm.
it can be extra work towards balancing,
Yeah.
specifically towards balancing. So combat, the attention or the
Mhm.
spotlight, and how cool the encounter is, and all of those
Mhm.
kinds of things. So it's
Mhm.
just more on the DM. And so sometimes um, there are players that don't want to do it because they're fearful that it's going to put too much on the DM. There's DMs that don't like to do it because they're already doing so much work, so they don't want to do
Yeah.
more work. And
Yeah.
so I understand that. But it was very frequent that I was getting the comment of, across all the platforms where we posted this, it was very frequent that I was getting the response of that it's hard to keep track of, was the wording that I kept
Yeah.
seeing.
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
keep track of. And I thought that was really interesting,
Mhm.
because I genuinely think that's a,
Really valid concern.
yeah, I'm perfect. So that never happens to me, but I
Oh,
get it.
right. Yeah. No, I've been there. I've been there.
No, Taylor's been there and he'll talk to us through this solution. 'Cause I've
Yeah.
never
Okay.
been there.
You've
I'm
never been
kidding.
there. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well,
Of
so,
course I
but the
have.
reason why you've never been there is because you did the very first thing, and that's practice, practice, practice. You
Mm.
really, it comes with time. It really does come with time.
Honestly.
The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Really is what it is what it boils down to. It genuinely does just get easier eventually.
Hmm.
And you don't have to. And the other thing is, it's like you don't have to do it. You don't have to split the party. If you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to.
Very true. Very true. That goes back to
You
like a
know?
point we made way earlier of like, that's
Yeah.
why it's so important to build like trust at your table and build camaraderie and like a
Mhm.
mutual understanding and respect for everybody, so that when you as the DM say, "Hey guys, I actually really don't have us planned for a party split. It's going to really fuck up, like I only have one map laid out. I like
Right.
didn't make
Right.
tokens for all this kind of stuff. Like, is it okay if we don't party split tonight?" Like,
Right.
hopefully there's that trust and respect there, and like,
Mhm.
compassion. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hypothetically, if you and I were playing a game and I was the dungeon master and I said that to you, you and
Yeah.
I are close enough that I feel like you guys would respect that and be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
worries.
No problem.
Not the end of the freaking world."
Right.
And vice versa. If you guys came to me and said, "We really want a party split. Like, we've been talking about it, we've been thinking about it
Mhm.
all week. Like, we genuinely think that party split right here is like really, really interesting to the story," then
Mhm.
I would probably be more inclined to do it.
Right.
Um, I think that's why it's just so important to have some trust in your table,
Yeah.
session zeros,
Yeah.
safety
Yeah.
tools,
Yeah.
all those things, notwithstanding. But
Mhm.
communication, baby, all comes
Yeah.
back to
And
communication
I'll
every
come back to the
time.
communication every single time. But, when it comes down to it, if your players do want to split up a whole bunch, plan for it. You
Mm,
know, I know it's more work, but theoretically, the party should not be encountering main plot points split unless you planned it that way. So if they are splitting off, maybe have some random encounter tables around or something along those lines just to keep both sides engaged with whatever they're doing. Have, a
hmm.
couple of contingency plans of, hey, so I know we're going to go into town. Uh Glig Glug is going to go try to rob the potion shop. I just know it. So I'm going to go ahead and make a plan for the potion shop, and then the rest of the party is going to go out and go to the tavern and do the other adventuring stuff. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's so true. If you're Once you get used to this idea of like, well, what if they party split? Now, obviously, this changes depending on your own DMing style and how
mhm,
much you like prepping versus depending on improv and stuff like that.
mhm,
As somebody who loves to prep, I like having a little contingency plan, a little plan in there just in case they party split, And
mhm,
that's helpful for me to have that backup idea just in
yeah,
case. But that's because I like the prep. Not everybody likes the prep. For them, it's extra homework. And like going back to your point of like, um, you don't have to do party splits.
yeah,
Like, just understand that, like, yeah, it's not for everybody, and that's okay.
yeah,
If you're like if every time your party is splitting, you're like genuinely like stressing about it, you're getting overwhelmed, you're not having a good time, that's okay. If party splits add an element to the game that detracts from its fun, don't do them.
Yeah.
Have that communication to hopefully you have that already in place so that you can have those conversations. But like with the exception of me and Taylor and like our friends, some of our friends in the space and stuff like that, being a DM is not your fucking job.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
treat it like work. You know what
Right.
I mean? So like the DM, and this is so important to repeat all the time because I say it sometimes and some people will be like, thank you for saying this. And I'm like, more people aren't saying this. DMs are entitled to have fun just like everybody else at the table, right? Like just
Yes.
because the DM is the one putting on the game, it doesn't mean that the DM deserves more fun or less fun. Just as much fun as everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're part of the table, you know?
Right.
The same way that the DM doesn't get to dictate things over the players in a way that is like controlling or kind of dickhead maneuvers. The same way that the players aren't allowed to gang up on the DM and be like, no, actually, like, come on, man. We're all working together. We're all part of the same ecosystem here. Like, what is going on? And then obviously we talked about communication being so fucking huge. I just, my goodness. But like, if you have cool people at your table, if you tell them, hey, I really didn't plan on splitting up. So, the map's just going to be a grid and we're going to draw it out. Like, hopefully they're cool with that because you have cool people at your table and stuff like that. Or the communication of just being like, hey, you guys can split up. Dale, if you want to go down that dangerous corridor, you can. Just know this. I didn't plan for that. So this encounter, it's going to suck. But if you want to do it, by all means, I want you to do it. But I just want you to know. I'm just setting the expectation. I'd rather be proactive than reactive.
Right.
Always. I feel that so strongly in my bones. Proactive over reactive is always better. So I don't care if I'm spoiling a little bit of a secret. I'd rather do that than face the consequences of a surprise.
Right.
Of being like I'd rather be like, okay, but that way is like deadly as hell. At least that. Because now I'm not giving anything away. I'm just giving away that it's deadly as hell.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean is it deadly as hell because of monsters or traps or something else. We don't know. So then I just need you to know that it's deadly as hell. That way, when I have you take 10 steps into that dangerous corridor and I say, roll a dexterity saving throw. Oh, a 10? Okay, cool. 5,000 damage as two huge slabs of stone go and crush you in between them. You're paced now. And now you're paced.
But Justin, we're level 2 right now. We're level 2 right now.
I warned you, Taylor. I warned you. You did it anyway. No. So, in conclusion, party splits. I think, are they good? Are they bad?
Yes.
Exactly. Jinx. Because it truly is like, it's fucking diapers, man. It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
God damn diapers. It depends. We got to get that sponsorship, man.
We got to get it. We got to get it.
It's all, that's where all the money
that's
is.
the money.
The depends
the money's
money.
in the adult diapers, baby.
Yeah.
Got to get the diaper money.
God damn, dude, that's so funny. We run a 24-hour stream where we're wearing them and we're like, look how absorbent they are.
Yeah.
We've been on stream for 7 hours straight.
I haven't had to get up one time.
And I'm dry as a leaf, baby. I don't know why the first dry thing I thought of was a dry leaf. I think it's because it's like my backyard is full of dead leaves. Anyway. So bad or good, they can be both. It's going to depend on a ton of variables as always, like most D&D topics. And it's crazy. There's this thing called nuance.
What?
And this also, I know. Hold on to your horses because there. And if you had the Boots of Hidden Valley Ranch, a fun magical item on our Patreon coming out next week.
Mhm.
Or it'll already be out by the time this episode comes out. But anyway, but I think it's also important, like, hey, you're never gonna know what it's like to be a DM or a player during a party split until you do it. You're never
Yeah.
going to be able to get better at them until you do them a couple of times.
Yep.
So don't be afraid of the growing pains, you know? Don't be afraid of making those mistakes, of potentially like having there be a moment where, yeah, one of the players, two of the players were bored for 5 minutes. Sometimes you have to get through that in order to get better.
Mhm.
And ideally, your table has enough patience and grace for you to be able to get through those growing pains so that you can get better. You know, that's why I
Mhm.
think it's so good for everyone to try being a DM, because then you can fucking, have a little bit more experience and a little bit more compassion and empathy so that you're like, hey, I've been a DM before. I know what this is like. Because let's be so real. Taylor, you and I are at somebody else's table and they're brand new DM and they do a party split and you're sitting there for like 20 minutes going, I wonder when I'm going to get thrown in. You're
Mhm.
going to have a little bit more grace for that DM because you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why we have this entire fucking channel.
It's literally
I don't mean to
this
be cursing
thing.
so
Yeah.
much, but
Yeah. Justin gets really passionate about party splits.
I know my jersey comes out when we talk about certain topics, and so I curse more often than I normally do. I recently saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok this morning that was talking about a particular organization that is finding themselves in New York City.
Mhm.
And it was like the caption was like, I've grown up in New York City my entire life. I've known this classic saying my entire life. All New Yorkers do. Today, we taught it to ICE. And then at the bottom, it just said, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, yup. And so in the video, you see a bunch of New Yorkers just going, get the fuck out of here. Hey, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, God, I love New Yorkers so fucking much, dude. It's why I care so much about Sphinx City, dude, because I genuinely am just like, I
Yeah.
love that East Coast, specifically Northeast, that fucking attitude that comes from a place of love, but it just is
Mhm.
abrasive as shit. And there's something I really,
Mhm.
really like about it. Um, so that's the main point, gang, is that hey, party splits, they're not for everybody. Some players just aren't cut out for that life because it's all about me, 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 me. They're golden retrievers. They're like, am I pretty?
Mhm.
Am I pretty? And sometimes you got to find a table full of cats, cool cats like us.
Cool cats.
And gang, this episode is brought to you by H2O. Thank you so much, Big Tap. Big Tap coming at you
Get
live.
out of here. No, that's all we can get to this time. Thank you. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at So You Want to Be a DM, or you can ask us a question at soyouwanttobeadm@gmail.com. If you like the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us. And check out the Patreon, Twitch, and merch with the link in the description. Join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye.
See you.
Hey gang, it's Justin. I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nub Muffins, may Palor's light shine upon you. Marsavies, have you watered your flesh prison lately? Yazvi, the eternal library where color and community await you. Molly Adeza, who gets yet another level up. And there's Elijah, Tappy, and Linguini. Gang, we appreciate and love you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Wanna Be a DM.